All right, so this is the RONA meeting, and we are hosting the police department. They're giving us a neighborhood watch and holiday safety tip, and I'm gonna hand it off to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here, and hello, folks online. I know the councilman is in the meeting room as well, so thank you for being here. My name is Mimi Christine Nguyen. I am a crime prevention specialist for San Jose Police Department, and it's been a while since I did this type of meeting for the RONA group. So today, the board invited me back to do a quick refreshing course for the neighborhood watch, but touch upon the holiday safety, because we're going through holidays and there's gonna be a lot of stuff that I want to cover so that everyone can stay safe while celebrating the holiday. But before I start, I'm gonna turn over to Lieutenant Mike White.
Put myself on the camera frame. So, hi everybody, my name is Lieutenant Michael White. I met some of you on the Zoom meeting that we had last month. So nice to see you all in person, and for those online, nice to see you guys again. So I know what last time we were here, we went over some common crimes that we've had going back over the past 90 days. I wanted to make myself available to you guys. If you have any questions, if you wanted to ask me about any case specifics. I believe one of the questions that came up at the last meeting was about a homicide that occurred about a year and a half ago, kind of in the general area. Just stuff like that. I know now Halloween's over. Hopefully you had lots of good trick-or-treaters out and everybody was safe. But then now as we transition to the the more winter time, where we started getting a lot of package thefts and things like that. I know sometimes our crimes, we can sometimes have a little bit of an uptick in the area. So I wanted to tell you that we're out in this area. Myself, my sergeants, and my officers are patrolling the neighborhoods. If you see anything like package thefts and break-ins, things like that, please let us know. Please report them. We want to be out in the area and be proactively policing this area. With that, I'll either turn back to Mimi, or if anybody has any questions off the top of their head, I'm happy to talk to you, answer them, or if anybody online has a question as well.
Anyone online?
If there's any questions online, you can post it in the chat, or I can try having you speak, but it's better to put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last year I've been living through hell on earth in this neighborhood, because in my townhouse complex next door to me, in the 2-bedroom townhouse complex, they established a combination brothel and strip club. And they have been evicted on the 6th of September.
Okay.
But it has been ongoing for me for months.
Yeah. And
I've been traumatized, and I've called 911, 311, but I don't think those were appropriate, because it's just, it was a business.
Yeah.
And it's a rental, and the landlord lives in Iran. So it's dealing with a property manager. And also, I live next door, but I don't see what's going on. All I hear is the noise, the chaos, the fighting. And I'm wondering if there was something that I could have done that would have ended this sooner, as opposed to, being without sleep for months at a time. First, the construction on the upper floor for the brothel activity, which I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And the construction happened at night. And then the strip club activity, which was about 4 or 5 nights a week, where there would be as many as 50 men in the unit at a time. And I was concerned for my safety. And, now I'm finding out the more details. But when I called 911 and 311, it was primarily the noise and the chaos that I didn't understand.
Yeah. Well, so several things there. Number one, it's not a normal noise complaint, right?
No,
what you had to deal with.
No.
So when you're dealing with something outside of that, and even just a noise complaint itself, it is appropriate to call us. Now, obviously, when it's a busy night on a Saturday night, and we're dealing with priority dispatches, and we only have 4 officers in the area, and they're going from call to call to call. Unfortunately, right, a noise complaint call might not get prioritized as high as we would all like them to be. But
I know that from experience.
but at the same time, this is not a normal call like that. that. So when you start documenting and letting us know, and when you reach out to us, either the sergeant, myself, or the captain, like a lot of times with email, we can put effective resources, and we can start working with City Hall and start trying to get the eviction process and start actually going out and doing proactive enforcement in the area on something like that. It's not just a bunch of kids throwing a party late. And they
Oh,
need to
no,
be.
I was concerned for my
Absolutely,
safety.
absolutely. No, I'm saying it wasn't that was not the case with what you were having to go through. So what you were calling is totally appropriate. I'm sorry you had to go through that, and evictions do take time. But if we can go actually out and actively, like proactively enforce and target those areas, that helps us out. We want to know about them because a lot of those end up being bigger problems. That's where the violence can start upticking.
I was concerned that there might be a shooting and shooting through, I was in danger, and I'm glad that there were no stabbings or shootings. But I did call Vice.
Yeah.
And it took about 3 or 4 calls from me because I was concerned about underage human trafficking going on.
Yeah.
And with Vice, about the 3rd or 4th time I called, I got a willing ear to hear my story. But it was such a bizarre experience that I felt like I was walking a fine line between being treated as a crank.
Yeah.
And because it was totally bizarre.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm happy at least you have some relief right now.
That's quiet.
Please let us know if you have anything, if you see anything weird like that pop up. The sooner we can know about it, the sooner we can start attacking it with some resources.
Now, when you say call you, it's not 911 and 311.
Well, like you said, you got a hold of Vice. Vice is the appropriate people to start with on that. That is absolutely appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you need police out there right away, and if it's not a life-saving emergency, 311 is the proper number to call. So if you're having, even if you hear like a noise complaint right then and there, maybe no active fight or violence is going on, still call 311, let us know about it. At least it generates what we call a CAD report. And unfortunately, maybe it doesn't get dispatched right away or even
it takes
for
months
a while.
for
Yeah.
that, yes.
But at least it memorializes it for us. And that is something that our Vice unit, for example, can look at and point to. So it does help.
Okay, well, I did call and it was memorialized to help with the eviction, I think.
Okay.
So, one of our neighbors wants to know about the murder that happened across the street from here.
Yeah.
And you were going to follow up.
Yeah, so I spoke to the detective. I think I talked to you guys last time I was on the meeting that I just came out of homicide. I wasn't familiar with that case in particular. Each of us had our own caseload, but I spoke to the detective that had that case. It's a solved case, believe it or not. Unfortunately, the suspect has fled the country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think there were some questions as far as who the victim was. The victim was like a day laborer.
Oh, I see.
And the suspect unfortunately has fled the area. So I said, would it be appropriate for me to tell, because I know you guys had some concerns. I said, is it appropriate for me to tell them that? And he said, yes, that's fine. So just to calm any fears, it was kind of just a random incident, it sounds like.
Okay.
So, no problem. Anybody else?
Sometimes around the neighborhood, during the night, maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, very loud cars and motorcycles and some kind of, let's say for 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Circling around, having all those things.
Yeah. So obviously if it's just like a isolated incident, somebody's speeding down, that's very hard for us to try to do anything about. But what we see a lot is these large like street racer groups, and they start blocking off intersections and they start doing like that kind of stuff. Please call, and we have our actual team set up to go out throughout the entire city, and they go out and target those kind of sideshow
I was
events.
not talking for big groups, maybe for 1 or 2 cars or 1 motorcycle. They just go around and maybe enjoy themselves.
You still, it's hard for us to catch up to something like that, right? Because the information, by the time it gets relayed to the officer, it could be 5 to 10 minutes old, and by then they're long gone, right? But what we want to try to avoid is the groups that set up on actual intersections and start doing the sideshow events and start doing donuts within the parking lot, that becomes obviously a huge hazard. It's very dangerous. Large crowds can even gather. So those pop-up sideshow events, we are actively monitoring them.
I'm suspecting these cars or motorcycles are linking to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because of, it's the same sound. Every other day or every third day, the same.
Yeah.
I'm listening to it very well, and I hear this happens multiple times. Maybe
Yeah.
they're living around and just.
So you think it's like a neighbor who just has a loud? Yeah. That's a little bit more, obviously more tough. You have to talk to your neighbors if you have any problems. Somebody who has.
No, like exact neighbor, but people that are neighborhood.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, that's a little bit of a different situation. It's a little bit hard. Obviously, like our patrol officers and our traffic enforcement unit, they're actually out there trying to enforce and conduct vehicle stops. If somebody has like a modified exhaust and stuff like that. Yeah. So we're out there. We're trying. That one's a little bit more difficult.
Anything in the chat room?
No, I'll ask. Does anyone have any question in the chat room? If you can do it in the chat, I can read it to them. We'll give them a second. I don't see a question in the chat. If one pops up later, I'll ask it for sure.
Lieutenant Blake, you're our police officer up here in North San Jose.
Correct. Yeah.
And so we can always rely upon you being here, and if there's any issues, we can always email you or call you. And
Yeah, I don't mind being. So how it works is I'm the swing shift central lieutenant I have Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. So I have a counterpart on the other side of the week, and we split up half the weeks, and that's Lieutenant Moeller. I think he's on an email with you.
no, we never met him.
He's my other counterpart. I can pass information along to him, like especially if it's a calls that happen consistently on like a Friday or Saturday night, for example. That way he's aware and he can make sure all of his sergeants and officers are aware of it as well. But yeah, for swing shift hours, which is like 3 p.m. to 1 a.m., I'll be your primary point of contact.
Okay, great. So if we are being bombarded by theft in our community, and we see somebody picking up a package, do we go after them, or do we call them out and say, put that package down, or what? What do we do?
I mean, what we want to avoid is, I can't tell you what to do in that exact situation. Everybody's level of comfort is different, right? And I also don't want to give somebody advice that would necessarily put them in any kind of forced confrontation and danger. That's the last thing I would want to do. If it was me, I would be like, hey, knock it off, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also fairly large male, and I'm, probably a little bit scary to somebody. So I don't want to tell you something that have you put yourself in a situation where you're getting a confrontation.
Yeah.
The best advice I can give you is to call us, and we can come out and respond. And then we also can work backwards with our detectives to try to identify the person they take off, and then they can get identified and filed on charges for them. That's my best answer for you.
So I noticed on Sealy that a lot of the homeless people have moved on.
Good.
And but what has stayed is the large double-barrel dirt haulers. And there's like 6 or 7 of them, sometimes there's only 3. So is the police officers doing anything about that, the city itself?
Are those vehicles? I'm sorry, I'm not. What did you call them?
I call them double haulers. They're the real huge haulers that haul dirt.
Oh, like trailers.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not familiar. I don't think that's going to be us. Probably code enforcement, I would guess. Maybe.
Probably parking enforcement.
Okay.
Vehicle abatement.
Oh,
It's on Sealy. They're on Sealy.
Yes.
Okay, I'll have a look there.
Yeah.
And I'll just have them come by. We'll probably take a look there. I don't know if there's any restrictions on vehicles like that parking on that street.
Well, I know that, I think, one man maybe has 3, so it's like a business, he uses business trucks. there.
Okay.
And, but now it's growing. It was just only 2, and that was fine. But now we see about 6 or 7. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's less. And so I was just wondering about. that.
Okay, yeah, it might not be technically not illegal for them to park there, as long as they move, regularly. Well, we can just see about putting like a vehicle, like height or weight restrictions.
Right, yeah, it's the huge.
Right, yeah.
The huge hall.
Right, yeah, now that RVs are gone, that'll probably be easier, because our whole thing is to move the RVs is the hard part, but if they're just businesses leaving their vehicles there, we probably have signs that say no vehicles over, a certain
Right,
size.
yeah. Is there a possibility that maybe on city, they can put a no parking sign, so that way there's, won't be any of these, people that park here, park there?
Yeah, I mean, we can look at it for sure, but since with the development going on there,
Yeah.
there might be, other things going on. I don't know if they want to put no parking signs with, not knowing, well, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with the development there,
Right.
but we can definitely look at it and ask them.
Yeah, talk with the person who owns those, like 2 of them I know he owns, but I don't know where the other 6 or 4 came in, if somebody else is good at it.
Yeah, and people should be storing there.
No,
Business people.
yeah, it stays there, yeah, we always wanted to always permanent park there.
Okay, yeah, no, we'll have, parking enforcement come out and have a look, and then we'll see about maybe doing some kind of signage there to restrict who can park.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay, so we have a question in the chat that actually wants to know how to set up a neighborhood watch group and how would you recommend that or not? So why don't we start with the neighborhood watch presentation? I think that'll be a good point to,
Segue.
yeah, a good segue. I'm gonna shift this to look at the screen.
Yes.
So-
Lieutenant is gonna be around, stick around for, for the duration of the presentation. So at the end, if you have questions or in the middle of presentations, there's certain question coming up, we will be able to help you. And also in the meeting room in person, also that Hugo, representative from Councilman Coleman office, who just spoke about vehicle abatement and parking violations and all that. So Hugo gonna also help with some of the concern that is on the city
Great.
sides.
Okay, you might want to start from the
So
beginning.
whoever that in the chat room asking about neighborhood watch, this is the neighborhood watch. And what it is a group of community members, either you belong to an HOA, apartment complex, or just house that on the same street that want to get together, meet each other and find out what's going on.
Oh, that's not set up for the neighborhood watch.
We are in the neighborhood watch already.
Oh, no, but I thought you had information on the screen for, no?
No, this is just the
Information?
Yes,
Okay, then let me back up
information,
so
yes.
they can see. I'm
So
sorry,
these are
I
the
misunderstood.
information that covered in the neighborhood watch, which I will cover tonight. Let me go back. Let me see the beginning. All right, so for the folks, I just did a little screenshot of the map of what considered at the River Oaks Neighborhood Associations, and you live in the RONA, so you know exactly where your boundary is and who's a part of this community, as well as other businesses, companies, or apartment complex are part of this community. But particularly tonight is just for the residents that belong in the River Oaks Neighborhood Associations, right? Which you call RONA. And I assume everyone here, you all know each other in this room? No, see, so that's the whole point of a neighborhood watch, just to get to see who live in the RONA area, who belong in the associations, as well as the folks online that you see each other's name, and you probably don't know where each other live, but this is the first step to get to know each other and create this unity for your community. And of course, the more that you know you get to know your neighbors, it's the safer. You have a sense of community, you have a sense of safety, because if you're out and about, your neighbor can help pick up the mail or look over, keep an eye on your house, or taking the trash bin into when you're on vacation. So that kind of create a sense of community. The city of San Jose, before we go into all the tips and tactics of how to keep yourself and your property safe, I just want to give you a quick overview of what the city of San Jose looked like. 178 square miles. It's really large. It's divided up in 4 divisions: Central, Foothill, Southern, and Western. RONA belong in Central divisions, which the border is, well, the northern part is the Marina by Alviso. that consider the northern border of central divisions. Southern will be downtown San Jose. The eastern side will be Highway 101 and Interstate 680, and the western side will be the city of Santa Clara. So this is central. And lieutenant that you just met earlier, he is lieutenant of this divisions. And we have two lieutenants that share the week with each others. Earlier, lieutenant, when he talked about his shift, he worked from 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. So he doesn't go back until 1 o'clock in the morning. So the police patrol right now to 3 shifts, day, swing, and shift. If you I don't know, the folks online will be but at 9 o'clock, another group of officers already get deployed. So from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m., the city have double coverage, right? Those are 4 hours the city have a double coverage for the officers. And they do 6 months assignment. Lieutenants stay for however long for that division, but for patrol officer, they do 6-month shift. Every 6 months, officer bid for different shift, different area. So it's give opportunity for the young officer get to know different part of the city of San Jose. So you see an officer patrol around here in the River Oak, Montague, down on Northwest Street. But 6 months later, if they want to bid for a different area in downtown on the foothill, they be able to put in a bid and okay, they want to work on that side of the city. So we give them exposure to different things in the city. Along beside the patrol officer that you see, we also have a special unit that's called MCAT. It stands for Mobile Crisis Assessment Team. This particular team is specialized in de-escalations. They have, besides being trained as an officer, they also have a special training by the FBI on de-escalations. Because not all the call for service need an officer to show up and arrest or write a report. This officer show up when an incident, an individual going through a psychosis episode, a mental breakdown, so on and so forth. And the officer will show up with a Santa Clara County Mobile Crisis Response Team. They have a clinician, they have a nurse, a counselor. Maybe that individual need to put it in a place, for 72 hours to get medication, to get counseling, rather than booking that person into jail, right? So this particular unit dealing with that type of calls. People are gonna ask, how do I get a hold of this team when I call? If I see someone on Montague or Trimble and they need help, and I know that person doesn't need to go to jail, just call 911, describe the situations to the dispatchers, and the dispatcher will know, okay, this is a situation, we need to deploy the NCAT. You don't need to call, we don't have a separate phone number for the NCAT team, okay? 911, earlier when we talked about the incident of that house that turned into a brothel, Lieutenant talking about, so that situation happened, there's a crime occur, you hear drilling, you hear car backfires, all of that commotion, you've seen someone break into someone's cars, it's a 911 call. There's no hesitation, it's when you need an ambulance, you need a cop, you need a fire truck, right there and then. We nowadays, all of us have a cell phone. And even when your cell phone locks, you still be able to press that emergency, right? And it's connected directly to a 911 service. However, if you live close to a freeway, that call, that emergency call will connect you to CSP, which is California Dispatcher, and they locate in Vallejo. It's gonna take a few seconds for them to reroute back to San Jose Police Department. So my recommendation is to program the 10-digit number 408-278911 onto your phone, and it's on your hands out as well. For the folks online, earlier I talked about not being here, so you won't get these tangible information, but I will send it out to your board and they will help distribute out so you can have it. So 277-8911 is the direct number to the San Jose Police Department. In addition of calling 911, you also have the option of text 911. Give me an example, when would you need to text 911? Anyone? Jean, when would you need to text 911?
I don't know.
Yes,
When you don't want somebody to hear what you're saying.
very good. Right, so when what? Hostage. So VTA shooting, remember that incident? That's text 911 like blew up because people was hiding. and they text to let, dispatcher know where they're locating. Also, in the incident when you have a heart attack, or you have a stroke and you're unable to talk, you can text. Also, incident, we have a case of a 13-year-old girl coming home from school, making a snack in the kitchen, and she go upstairs to do her homework. An intruder came in right after her and nobody home. So she went upstairs, hid in the closet, text 911. And our officers show up within a minute, and the intruder was still in the house. So they'd be able to capture that individual. So those are incidents when you text 911, okay? And on the handout in the back, we give you a little cheat sheet for suspect descriptions. These will help you when you call 911 to describe the individual to our dispatcher. They're gonna ask you a series of questions. Top down, inside out, how tall, race, hair, what the person's, any piercing, anything that you can see from top down. Inside out is the layer. Usually when someone wants to commit a crime, they wear multiple layers. Even under, 110-degree weather, they're still gonna wear layers. And the reason is that when they commit a crime, they come into your neighborhood, they commit a crime, they run down the street and they take off the jacket, all the, whatever. And if you don't pay attention, train yourself to look at people, characteristic like a t-shirt, something poking out, a graphic on the t-shirt, anything that capture your eye beside the most obvious thing. So, for example, if I come into the apartment, I break into a car and I steal a laptop and run down the street, and everyone gonna call 911. Say, it's the Asian girl in the blue jacket. But when I run down the street, I take off this blue jacket. And our officer looking for that Asian girl in blue jacket, well, I don't have a blue jacket on, so I blend in, right? But if you notice there's a white t-shirt underneath, and you can say, oh, I think she wear a white t-shirt underneath that have a logo of a cell phone with Nautica. And so those are descriptions that you can give our dispatchers. So it's helped narrow down the field of our officer looking for the suspect out in the field. When you call, what would you say to the dispatchers? This is the most, important thing when we teach the community of how to report. Remember the 5 W. Who, what, when, right? Who did you see? When you call, who did you see at the house? You see all this men come in and going in that house, right? That problem. What did you see? Okay, all this men come in. What do you see? You hear noise. You see a lot of construction going on at 2 in the morning. All the car park, overflow parking on the driveway on the street. When do you see it? Oh, I'm seeing it right now, and it's 11:30 or 2 in the morning because I couldn't sleep because of that noise. Where is it occurred and the address, right? So I live right next door, but please don't come and knock on my door. You can call me back for further details. So you don't want people to know that you report. You can report anonymously. Those are the things that you can tell the dispatchers. And why is this suspicious? Like, well, I lived here for 10 years and this never happened. And at 2 in the morning, there's nobody should do construction. There should be no music or, girls and guys coming in at these hours. So those are the informations. And you, like the lieutenant said, if you keep calling and notice those things, the activity. So if 5 people live around that block, call in every weekend, days on, week on, eventually, the lieutenant said, it's gonna catch someone's eyes. Someone is like, oh, why is this call coming from this particular location? It blow up on the heat map. And so our officer will be able to do control check, or they can do the start investigations, all of that. So this would be a great way of teaching each other how to report appropriately. Okay, any question on this, the 5 W? Awesome. Non-emergencies. Earlier, Lieutenant talking 311. 311 used to be our non-emergency, but now 311 is the city side of service. You can still call 311, but it's geared toward the city service like pothole, street layout, garbage pickup, that kind of thing. Non-emergency that deal with criminal or suspicious behavior is 277-8900. So it's also on your hands up. And this is when you call for things that already happens. Number 1 call for non-emergency will be car break-ins. You go shopping, you come out, your car get broken into, it's already happened. You don't know who did it, what time, and the suspect is no longer around. So that's a non-emergency. But you can also file a report online for non-emergency case. For example, you get all those calls from the IRS asking, telling you that you haven't paid your tax this year, or you have people calling and telling you that you have a package or that couldn't find your location. I get that text all the time. You can go online and file the report. My car got broken into 9 years ago, and I called a non-emergency way back in the day with 311. And I waited online for 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Nobody answered. It was really busy. And then I went online, sjpd.org, file a report. Within 40 minutes, 45 minutes, they send me a report with my case number. And those are official document that I can submit to the insurance company to file a claim. So you don't have to wait online. So those are services that you can tap into. So later tonight or during vacation, if you're bored, you don't have anything to do, go online and play around with sjpd.org. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can look at. This is how you report online. This is a website. This is our website, and on top will be reporting crime. Those are the tab of that you can click on. All right. Neighborhood watch. When you're talking about neighborhood watch, the three things that we always talk about or train the community on of how to keep your house safe is refer back to the 3 L's. Light, lock, and landscaping. So those of you who have sat through this probably remember the 3 L. Everywhere you go, when you talk about neighborhood watch, we only talk about the 3 L's. Light, lock, and landscaping. So lighting. If you look at the photo, would you want to walk through this neighborhood with that type of house? All right. Especially yesterday, if your kids go trick or treat, you want to walk by that house, go to that? No. Also, shopping area of that dark street. Would you like to walk down that street when you go shopping, Christmas holiday shopping? No. So you want to go to a well-lit area. And when you're talking about that, if you live in a neighborhood, RONA, you have association, you pay fee, there's street light. If there's a street light that gets burned out, let the board know or let the maintenance people know to replace them all, right? Because that's not only safety, but also liability. If something happened to that person, it's like, I have told you this light bulb have been burned for a week and nobody replaced it. I tripped and I broke my ankle. Okay, so liability, so you don't want that. In addition, when you do lighting for your house, make sure it's well lit around the area. Because sometimes I go to certain neighborhood, I saw a really harsh bright light right in front of the driveway. But everything else around that has pitch dark. So you don't want to create that environment. I mean, people may not, do anything to your house, but when it's dark, someone needs a place to rest their head overnight. They may find, a dark corner, put down a sleeping bag and sleep there. So the quality of life that we're talking about. So make sure you have well lit around your house, especially nowadays. It's getting darker, winter time coming up, right? 5:30, 6 o'clock, it already get dark. So install the timer. So by 5:30, the minute it's getting dark, get the house lit up. Because you don't want to come home, driving home and see your house pitch dark. Okay, so I have the timer, turn on the lights on the outside your house as well. I have one light turn on in the living room or where people walking by or driving that by can see that, oh, there's some, light inside behind that window, even though you're not home yet. But you want to create that feeling, oh, someone living in that house, moving around that house right now, okay? Locks. Always locks your door. So that is just a given. But guess what? 40% of the time when our officers respond to home burglarized, there's someone left the front door open or the front door have a really cheap lock that they can break in. Or someone just crawled through the window of the sliding door that was not secure, especially in the summer. So be mindful that it always locks your door. In the summer, if you need to leave your window open for some fresh air, make sure that you leave it small enough that the little tiny hand cannot reach over to pull the leverage or remove something else. Because a lot of time those little kids, 12, 11 years old, in the summertime, our officer arrest those kids and their job because they hung out with like older kids and they use at one of the, because of almost like a booster. So lift the little kid up, and their hands really tiny, skinny, 11, 12 years old, their wrists really small. So they reach over, pull the levers, slide the window, crawl inside the house, go to the front door, open the front door for other people to come in. So always make sure that if you leave your window open, leave it very narrow. And if you have to leave your house, close those windows. Not even, if you run down the street or go to the park to walk your dog out to get them out, make sure you close it. Landscaping. The before and after, if you live across from that house of the before, if someone's still in a package, will you be able to see it? No, right? Because of overgrown bushes. Someone, oh, maybe it's a good place if Amazon deliver and hide behind the bushes, nobody know. But this criminal gonna go from house to house, they're gonna check your front porch. And if they lift a back package from that porch, nobody see it. So landscaping, the one after, see how clear line vision, if our officer drive by on the street and see that house, if I live across the street from that house, I'll be able to see it as well. Same thing with the photo on the bottom right corner. It's too busy, even though they nicely trim, but it's cover up the front porch. So you want to trim it down, look nice, line of visibility. So light lock and landscaping. Now let's go into the holiday crime prevention. So because holiday coming up, and I know that was one of the requests that you had last month when we met. So the triangle of crime of opportunity. In order for a crime to happen, you have to have 3 components: desire, ability, and opportunity to commit a crime. If one of these elements missing from that triangle, it will collapse, right? So in terms of desire, you cannot stop a criminal having a desire to steal things. And they have the ability because they can break your car, they're strong, they can run. You cannot stop them. But what you can do to make the triangle weak is the opportunity. You have to remove the opportunity so that they can move on to the next victim or move on to the next car. So let's see what we have here. This video is spoken by a former criminal. He was a theft for 20 years. He's arrested for multiple times on car breaking and all the type of burglaries. So he went to jail and he went through the whole process of rehabilitations. And now he's going around talking about how to keep yourself safe during the holiday. Look, you can hear it.
Is it going up? No, I think it's still coming out of here. It's coming from the computer, yeah. Oh, is it? Yeah, I'm not getting the volume up at all. No, it's I'll just post this slide presentation on with this, so you can review the slide presentation after. We don't know why the volume's not coming out of the TV.
Can you turn it up from the computer? Turn up the computer volume?
Yeah, it's max. Yeah, it's max. And it's nothing coming out from there's no volume.
Some of these TVs aren't meant to have sound come out of them, so they're pretty crappy.
Can you go back? As you guys are talking.
Can you hear? So you see how he talk about the criminal, the crook pretend they on the phone in the parking lot. So he looking around and so he get out of the car, but he constantly on the phone. But you see his behavior when he said, oh, I'm gonna walk. It's okay, so if it's you, you get out of the car, you're on the phone, but you walk directly into the mall, into the store. But you see him talking about, he pretend he's on the phone, but he go to this car and the other car, just wandering around. He didn't go directly into the store. So that's the way they're looking for things. And also he talking about how he can see people body language when they try to hide things in the glove compartment before they get out. You see he did that because they watching, especially during the holiday, people occupy because you're thinking about, okay, I'm having to buy this person gift. Okay, I'm running late and then, what for dinner while I'm shopping. So he watched your body language. If you reach over to open something or you turn and you open up the middle console, he watched that language, body language. So, she putting something away or he putting something underneath the seat. Because if you hit something, try to hide something underneath it, you have to scoop the chair, right? And your body move back and forth. Because normally you just park your car, you open the door and you get out. None of this movement going on inside the car. So he's watching that in the parking lot.
I do that all the time.
So someone is watching.
Yeah.
Opportunity. So he's talking about people even with alarms. So if someone break into the car and the car alarm went off, people don't even look because it's not your car. So you don't really care. You just turn around and you like move on. Or it's like, oh, it's not my car. I'm just gonna keep walking. So he rely on that a lot. Now again, how is it gonna help us knowing this? So you gotta look out for each other, right? So you've seen it, pick up a phone call. Now someone just break into the car. This is what he look like, rather than just ignore it. Oh, it's not my car. I'm gonna keep moving on. He didn't go directly.
How did you work the windows so easy?
They make the windows at the safety issue be able to shatter fairly easily. That's why a lot of car companies, right, if you're in a car accident, that's why it shatters like that. Yeah.
So basically that's what he talked about, right? So now that I'm sorry about the volume, but he talked about body language, looking out for suspicious behavior. You see someone walk back and forth in the parking lot, but not going anywhere, but on the phone. So he's looking for things. And he talked about if you go shopping, this is what we always teach when we do holiday safety. One thing, if you go shopping, put your stuff in the trunk and you gonna go to the next store because there's so many things that you're gonna buy, right? So when you put your stuff in the trunk, get in that car and move to a different spot. I'm not talking to the next spot, but go somewhere and, get out of that line because, he's just looking at the area in that area. So you go to another parking area and go back into the mall. But make sure you put everything in the trunk, right? Don't show any, like he's talking about, he would just leave stuff in the back seat, hiding in, underneath of the second row of the car, so very visible. And even he said they're gonna pay attention in terms of if you move, you have stuff in the car. We talk about how they spot things inside your trunk, electronic thing. He's gonna break the car and he can pop the trunk to steal stuff out from the trunk, even though your car is clean. And then we'll talk, and I will show you a video of how to use the Bluetooth to do that. So in terms of shopping during the holiday, First thing first, always aware of your surrounding. Looking for people like him, that type of behavior. You're looking for people who sit in the car for a long period of time on the phone, but actually just scanning, looking back and forth because they're scouting. So those are suspicious behavior. Now, what do you do when you see that individual in the car? Don't park your car there. Drive somewhere else. Get out of that person eyesight. Okay. Shop before dark. I know it's gonna be hard because it gets dark really early, and if you like me, we coming home from work like 5, 6 o'clock, and you need to make that last stop at Best Buy or Macy. You know, make sure someone go with you and aware of your surrounding. Lock your package and give it your vehicle trunk, especially if you have SUV and SUV don't have a trunk, right? So make sure you invest in one of those things that you can pull to cover your back in the back of your area of the SUV because you don't have a trunk. Let's see what else. When you return to your vehicle, make sure you check to make sure nobody inside your car or someone not following you before you get into your car. And another thing, when we do this type of safety presentation, we advise, if possible, when you park your car, do back it in. We call it combat parking, so that when you walk to your car, you already see the front row, you don't see people in the back. But if you park, like most people will park facing in the curb, and you sit in your car, you're not gonna be able to see people who hiding on the back seat. So if possible, back your car in. And also, if something happens, you can get into your car and drive away. If there's an active shooter happening at the mall, you can get your car and drive away rather than back it up, right? To discourage purse snatcher, make sure that don't overburden yourself. Sometimes, you know, like tonight I come here, I have bag on my shoulder, I have hands out, all that stuff. So don't be like me, okay? Make sure your dominant hands always stay empty and available so that you can call, you can unlock your car quickly rather than having all this stuff and you won't have time to respond if someone attacking you. Don't take your money when you go and buy stuff and if you have to pay cash or you have to take out your credit card, don't take them out before they say, oh, yeah, you can pay now. But nowadays people use Apple Pay, which is better. Don't take it out ahead of time because there's a lot of shoulder surfer during the holiday. You would not be able to see who they are because they can blend it. But they're gonna look over your shoulder to look at your car number. They can look at your account on your check if you're still writing checks. Or all this, you know, the ATM pin. When you try to pay for things online, I will talk about online shopping in a minute. Save your receipt and monitor all your bank account, your credit card statement, because you probably just buy something for $30, but you're not keeping track of someone stole that card or stole that number. They can go online order, and within 2 hours when you get home, you already see a charge of $100 or $500. So make sure you look at your receipt and monitor your bank account, credit card statement, your credit card online right away. Ask for help moving and loading large item if need. So earlier when we talk about, don't try to carry everything out of the car because sometimes if you ask Costco or someplace you need help out in the car and you have stuff, a lot of stuff. So yeah, don't try to do everything yourself. Especially like for me, I'm very petite, and if I try to pour everything, take everything, I'm gonna look like a mule walking through the parking lot. So don't do that. And if something happens, I won't have the opportunity to respond. If you go shopping with kids, with small children, first thing first, make sure that you make a plan of a meetup place. If they get scattered and they get lost, like meet me here, at this location, and write this door in front of this rack. Make sure that you communicate that with your kids every time you go to the mall with them, because sometimes things happen, right? And the kid's gonna run around, and so like 5-10 minutes, where you gonna meet me, and they will tell you. Make sure your child has a contact number of you. If they're too little to remember that, have it written down and pin it inside their jacket. So if they get lost, they can be able to get it and call you. So you have, Tommy is here, so on and so forth. Teach your kids of how to ask for help if they get lost from personnel. So role play with them. So if you haven't seen mommy in 5 minutes, haven't seen daddy in 10 minutes, what would you tell that person over there at the cash register, and and see if he or she said correctly? What's my name? What's the phone numbers and all of that? And you make sure they have the phone number pin on inside their jacket. All right, online shopping. A lot of us gonna do that the last few years. Well, recently we just have Amazon days, right? So it's a lot of stuff going on, and we will talk about packet theft as well as identity theft in a minute. But also holidays. A lot of us don't have time to go to the mall, and nowadays everyone reserve back to online shopping. So make sure that you shop at trusted website, right? Everyone know Amazon, Target, Walmart, Best Buy, those are trusted website. You don't want to go to a random, when they have that algorithm and they just pop into this website and say, you should look at the pair of shoes. Here's the 10 different lists that you can look at to buy shoes. Don't click on that. Go to the site that you trust, that you always go to. When you buy things online, use credit card, don't use debit card, because it's really hard to dispute a charge on a debit card. Credit card company, they do have insurance and they will, work on it and then return the money to you, right? But try not to use debit card, because if someone stole that number and they're gonna use, charge on that card, it's really hard for them to give you the money back. Let's see, when you buy a product, vest it to see who made it and where is this coming from. Sometimes you buy something and you later on realize, oh, those are fake stuff, and I paid $400 for this, all this stuff that shipped to you, and you didn't read the review from that vendor or that company. Like later on, you thought, oh, this is really bad product, and it's all the 2-star review and all that stuff. So do all that research before you purchase something. Keep track of what you order online. If you do get scammed, if you get your ID stolen, make sure you file a report right away. Don't wait and say, oh, maybe let's wait until my statement come home. No. The minute that you look at that your bank online, your credit card, because you have that app online, and like me, it's like, I didn't make that purchase. You're gonna file a claim right away. Just don't wait until the statement come home. Packet theft preventions. Okay, so now that you order everything online, don't make your front door look like this, right? Don't pile all the stuff, deliver all the same day from different company. Track your packets and sign up for notifications. Nowadays, I think all the companies does that. Even Walmart, Target, when you have something ordered, you can track your packets. Even Amazon, they're gonna tell you how many stop before it gets to your house. Sometimes I go on and say it's out for delivery, and then you go into the map and it's gonna tell you, oh, there's 3 stops before it gets to my building. So it's helped you. They really improve on that process. If there's stuff that you order that's really expensive, make sure you require signatures. Don't leave those expensive stuff delivered at the front porch. Okay, make sure your signature on the delivery. Consider installing a porch lock box. You know what that is? No, it's right there. So it's a box that have a lock. So when a package come to you, the delivery guy will lift it and drop the box into the bin, and then you have the key to open up the bin at the end of the day. So I seen a couple of them when I was down in the Rose Garden. The couple of houses that have the lock box that people can deliver it rather than live in the front porch. Have friends or trusted neighbor. Now that you here tonight or online, and you know who's your neighbor, who you can trust, or friend, come and get a package for you when you're not home. Schedule a delivery date and time. You can also do that with, I know with FedEx, there's certain time item that I order and I know I'm not home. For example, I order wine and I make sure that at this day and time, I have to be home to sign for it. Because if I'm at work, I'm not be able to run home and sign for it. And they will post a notice, we think return the next day, the same time, which is I'm not home again. So if you can schedule a day and time for those packages. Deliver your order to Amazon pickup, or you can send it to your office as well at work. It's not illegal to send stuff to your office if your company allowed it. Instead of waiting for you at the front porch and you come home, there's nothing at the front porch. Especially holiday season, this is one of the top activity that our officers see. And when it's happened, I mean, there's not much that you can do in terms of I mean, Amazon, they bought a lot of insurance because they know they're gonna have to reimburse a lot of loss, because holiday season is when a lot of packages being stolen. Okay, earlier when I talked about, even though your cars, the inside of your car is really clean, but your car still get broken into. And one of the reason is that most of the time, the criminal would use the Bluetooth signal on their cell phone. So if you have a cell phone and you go to setting, you turn on the Bluetooth, it's gonna tell you how many people close to you that have the Bluetooth signal on. You can see someone's phone name, you can see that Mercedes-Benz next to you have Bluetooth on. Yeah, you can see it right now. If I have mine on, you're probably gonna see Mimi iPhone on it. So they using it to pick up signal on laptop, tablet, anything electronic that you don't have it powered up. Okay. I'm gonna show a quick video. Again, apologize for the audio.
Quite the story here. A tool designed to make our lives easier is also making it easier. Car burglars snatching your valuables.
Q at 6, Kid Doe explains how you can protect yourself.
Perhaps you've heard the urban legend that crooks are using Bluetooth scanner apps to see if you've hidden valuables inside your car. Well, we spent the morning testing it out, cruising the parking lot of a fitness gym, and yes, it's true. I'm getting a strong signal for this tile in this car. So you have a tile in your car?
I do.
The lower Amuna keeps her tile buried inside her chip bag, deep in her wallet, but it was so strong that I honed in on the Bluetooth signal from across the parking lot. 100%. Wow. What do you think?
That's kind of creepy. A lot of burglars are going to find a way to get your things.
Sandra Avila is a San Jose police crime prevention specialist and says most people don't realize some devices are constantly broadcasting a signal. A quick scan of the iPhone App Store showed there are a bunch of free, easy-to-use Bluetooth scanners on the market now.
There are some people, auto burglars, who actually detect that signal and target your car for that.
While using the Bluetooth scanner, it is hard to not look shady. SJPD says if you see someone behaving like this, don't just shrug it off.
And they're walking around, they're on a bicycle, they're on a scooter. That's suspicious.
If you cannot take the device with you, then power off the Bluetooth and completely shut it down before hiding it inside your car. As for Allure, she says in the future, they're quite the story.
So that's self-explanatory, right? So you see how savvy they get. But again, now that you learn about it, you have to be up your game. Pay attention to it. Behavior. When we talk about someone walking around the parking lot like that, it's not normal for someone to walking around with their cell phone doing that. So suspicious behavior. That's a non-emergency. 277-8900. Okay. All right. So now we talk about the catalytic converter theft. You heard about this the last few years. It's very hot in San Jose, right? Actually, it's all over the Bay Area. And then you will. Some people will ask, how do I know if my catalytic converter get cut out? You will know. The minute you turn it on, it's backfire. It's you look like the bomb just blow up underneath your car. So the catalytic, you know what it is? Yeah, if you don't have it, you're not gonna pass smoke. So basically, that's the converter before the air get the exhaust go out in the environment. So this was some of the photo of the criminal cutting catalytic converter. If you drive down the street, you see a car that get jacked up, but don't have any flat tire. They're not changing any tire. They crawl underneath. Most likely, they're cutting out the catalytic converters. There's an incident up in San Francisco. A friend of mine actually told me that's a couple years back. There was a sidewalk, and they put down the orange cone around that car. So when you see in the orange cone, you think, city work, PG&E, but there was someone underneath that car. So the car parking here, they put orange cone around that car. So nobody, paid more attention to that car. It's underneath the car, they cut the converter. So again, aware of your surrounding. You see something kind of shady, something like this is not normal. That's just kind of weird. Call in or just ask someone, double check to see what's going on. Okay. This video will show you how long it takes for someone to cut the catalytic converter out of this Honda. Also, I want you to pay attention to the neighbor across the street to see his reaction to things, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And that was it. You see how the neighbors, he heard that loud noise. So imagine yourself at home when you hear that loud noise, and then you know, oh, loud noise, there is a saw that cutting something, and you go outside and you see that. What will you do? What's the first thing you do?
Take a picture.
Did that happen to us and just too scared because there's a lot of people involved.
A lot, but you should go in a call.
Yeah, I was scared.
You
though.
froze, right?
Yeah,
You
we froze like that.
So, do you see it happen?
Yeah.
It was dark.
Yeah, it was dark though.
Okay.
Yes, we saw them lifting the car a little bit with.
That's the first, so if something lifting your car, that's, you put in a call. Because if you not lifting it, he not lifting it, someone else lifting it, that's, it's not right. So you put in a call right
Yeah, we
there and
got
then.
scared though.
Okay, you froze, so now that you in this meeting, so train your brain to react, right? And he came out, he looked, instead of call for the neighbor, he looked. Why if he come up and confront that person? And he had a saw, he just cut something, he had a saw in his hand. You see, that could happen too. So first thing, get to a safe place, go inside, call, and give all the information that you, at that moment, that you see what's going on, who did it, you know, the descriptions, what kind of car blocking you, what kind of car in front, behind, on the side. We usually use some big car to block in, right? And it's take 40 seconds to 50 seconds to get this done. So make sure if you are in a situation like call, and we also have a program that you can go to sjpd.org and Google Catalytic Converter Edge program. You can make an appointment at an auto shop, take your card in, they're gonna etch a VIN or whatever identification underneath your converter, so that most of the time when you have that in your converters, they look up and say, oh, I cannot sell because nobody's gonna buy that because it's stolen. It has someone VIN on it. And also, if it get by chance it gets stolen, our officer usually raid those, you know, junkyard, or they found all these converter, but they don't know who they belong to. But if you have your VIN on it, they know who is the owners and return to you, because a converter itself could cost you $2,000 to replace it. And insurance, the first time they're not going to pay for it, but the second time, because it's not the original of the car, they're not going to pay for it. And so also, if you are afraid of having it cut out, you can take it to a auto shop. They can put a plate that locked in those converter as well. So there's an option for you to do that. And I, you know, it's sorry, you know, day and age that we have to live in that type of environment, but better safe than being angry and paying so much money for it.
Is one car more susceptible, or does it matter at all?
Well, the Prius was one in the top converter first because it had precious metal in it. Secondly, a hybrid car, the converter got cleaner because gas converter is very dirty. But and also the Prius higher, it's really high, so it's easy for them to get underneath. But basically, the converter have a lot of precious metal in it, so they can, you know, they can melt it down and sell it. So basically, that's what it is. Also, older cars, the parts is no longer, it's obsolete. If you have a 1995 Honda Accord and if you need a converter, they're not making it anymore. So what you have to, you know, what they do is they go to a shop, but the shop buys something that from another car that gets stolen, they put on your car. So that's how they reset cycle around.
That's what happened. It was an older car. It was exactly that, an older car that.
The parts, yeah.
The part for it.
So yeah, so that's some of the, to answer your question, there's so many things that they need, that they use with that.
So do most of the local cars, do they have one converter or do they have two? I think our old car had three.
Yeah, our Avalon had 3
Yeah.
catalytic converters.
Three converters.
I don't know, I'm not in that business, so do you know anything about that, Lieutenant? Yeah. Okay. So, also another thing that we recommend is register. If you have cameras in your house, register with us. This program was implemented earlier this year. And what it is, if you have a camera, for example, I have a camera at home. I go online to SJPD, I register my camera. It's me at this address, and I have a Ring camera right in my front door. And what it is, when something happened around the neighborhood, and the officers or our detective will go into that database. They're gonna run the address around that particular incident, and they see which house have camera. Say, oh, this incident happened here. Mimi, I know your camera pointing to that direction. Can I see your footage of this day at this hour? And then I can provide that. We're not sitting there watching your footage, not watching you driving, to work or coming home. We're not monitoring it. Basically, that help us when incident happen, we be able to find footage that help solve the case. A couple months ago, there's an incident happened near Valley Medical Center. Someone car get hijacked. This person took the car, and there's a little dog inside the car. I don't know, you seen it? And they took off. So when our officer detective come down to that area, they be able to find out which house has camera and go knock on that door and say, can I have permission to look at the footage? And because of these houses register camera with us, we be able to find out the person who stole that car. And we went to his house, found the car, and found the puppy. So success story. So if you have camera, please register with us so that it can help us if anything happen around the neighborhood or nearby. Okay, and I think my colleagues have handed out earlier. Now in terms of neighborhood watch, get to know each other, support each other, and look out for each other. You can also find out what's going on in the city of San Jose. You can, stay connected with us through various social media website. I work in the police department, but I don't know everything that happened in different area of the city. So you go on here, you're gonna see, all the activity, all the situation that happened in our city, just to help you stay aware and alert of your neighborhood as well as the city that you live in. All right, 311. Earlier when we talk about 311, also on your hands-out is city and community resources. You can also download the app. It's really, really good. I myself have used it when I report graffiti. When you drive by an area and you see graffiti, you can take a photo of it. You file a report through this app, attach the photo, and they have specialists at the, in City Hall looking at these graffiti. And if it's gang related, they can remove that within 24 hours. They come out and they, paint it over. So if you live in a neighborhood, you don't want your neighborhood to be dilapidated with all this graffiti going on, take a photo and send it in. And if you own a private property, the city may not be able to do it, but they can come and give you a bucket of paint and brush and all that stuff, and you can paint yourself. And they do everything they can to match with the paint that you already have. So it's really good, free, and effective. Also, you can use it to report illegal dumping, pothole, abandoned vehicle, street light outage. So use that for at your service. Homeless concerns. You can also calling or email them to let them know your concern in terms of that you see a tent just pop up on the corner of Montague or Silly or what have you. They can send someone else, investigate, and either ask, help the person get into more of permanent housing. A lot of area in our city belong to different jurisdictions. So if the homeless encampment, overpass, underpass, freeway is going underneath Caltrans, railroad, Union Pacific. So these are different company, different agency that are responsible for different jurisdiction in our city when it comes to homeless. All right. And that wrap up our presentations, and it's time for questions. You can ask me, you can ask Lieutenant, or ask each other, or Hugo from council office. All right. Any question online, folks?
Let me see if there's any questions. There is a question here, but it's not related to this presentation you gave. So I will ask that after we have other people ask any questions they have about the presentation.
What's the cost of that plate to protect the cabinet converter? Do you have any idea?
I do not know.
But the etching is free.
Yes, the auto shop have a contract with the police department.
What's happening with the mailboxes? Are they still vandalizing our mailboxes?
Have you seen anything in this?
Yeah, I saw another
No, I was asking my lieutenant to see if it's.
No, I'm not.
I saw another sign that says, the post office has been made aware that, somebody's stealing the mail to make sure they pick it up every day.
Okay. So a lot of the mail thefts, we do work with the postal service. They have their own investigators that come out and do a
I
lot of
didn't know
that.
if there was something.
Not that I'm aware of, but we do communicate with the postal workers and the postal inspectors. They have a designated law enforcement officer that comes out and does his inspection and does reports and
Yeah, I
investigations.
saw the notice on the
So if,
mailboxes.
so in the past, we've had situations where you have a UPS driver or someone going around delivering holiday packages and someone going out behind them and picking up the packages. Do you call 911? Who do you call when you see something like that? Is it a,
I mean,
first
so
alert type thing?
I wouldn't necessarily classify that's a good one for calling the non-emergency line, but that's one of those ones that officers can respond to that call, right? You see a license plate. We've seen a lot of these incidents that were popping up, whether it's catalytic converter thefts, whether it's package thieves. And we keep saying and I might have missed it. I had to step outside briefly, but one of the best ways that you can try to catch a criminal is looking for the license plate. And if you can't memorize the whole plate, just catch the last 3 or 4 numbers on there. I'm not sure if you saw the news recently, but the city has just installed, we've had a few, but they just installed a lot more of these license plate readers throughout the entire city. If you can get us even just a partial license plate, our officers that are in the area can start looking after that car, and they'll start getting a notification where that vehicle is and where they're going and direction of travel and all that. So it's a super effective crime fighting technique that we're having now in San Jose. So I've used it myself for investigations. It's pretty cool as an investigator to have that technology now, but that's where we're getting to. So if you do see something like that, somebody following a UPS or a FedEx truck, and maybe they just look suspicious, get the license plate. And if you see them actually doing a crime, call it in, right? And then that'll give us the information that we need to go after them.
What if I see some suspicious activities involving, people getting into a car, exchanging pouches or something, and exchanging money and then getting out of the car?
So if you see something that you clearly there's probably some drug activity or something like that.
Yeah.
There's actually I'm gonna leave you guys some business cards of mine. There is an anonymous drug tip line. It'll go to some of our proactive units that specialize in narcotics enforcement. Again, if you can get a license plate, great, because a lot of times if you can get a license plate.
They're parked right outside my door.
Yeah, if you can get a license plate, that's how a lot of our officers can work backwards from a license plate and identify the individual.
But I don't know, I feel scared because I don't know, what if they know that, obviously I know that you guys have maintained my anonymity, but.
Yeah. So there's Crime Stoppers, which is
Okay,
actually.
because I feel
Crime Stoppers.
kind of uncomfortable because I'm very close to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the anonymous tip line, there are so many rules in place as far as Crime Stoppers and this tip line, as far as your safety and we will never reveal who that information came from.
I know, but
I don't
they're
even think
probably
you have
gonna
to.
know. They're probably gonna know that it's somebody within that vicinity.
Well, they can assume. I'm sure that that's probably a fear, and I understand where that fear is coming from. But that's where I'm telling you, as somebody who has used Crime Stoppers before, I've never once in any kind of investigation have ever had to, nor would I ever give out any information as far as.
No, I know. I trust that you won't, but I don't trust their instincts and what they would do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've seen cannabis delivered like that, and
Right.
that's legal, I think, no?
And cannabis is a whole separate thing now. Yeah, there's all kinds of as far as the delivery services with that. Most often it doesn't happen in cars. Just real quick, I think they have to. I forget what the exact rules. We have a cannabis department in our agency that regulates all the rules that they have to do and abide by. I'm not 100% familiar with every single regulatory thing, but I don't know if they can just do a quick hand to hand in a parking lot. Maybe
No,
they
it
can.
happens quickly, and the reason why I notice is because I live right upstairs, so if I'm looking out my window and the car is just right below me. and it's dark and I can see what they're doing and it's quick and it's in and out.
Yeah, I would probably guess it's probably not a legal cannabis transaction. Yeah, I'm gonna leave you my business card. It has my email, it has a bunch of tip lines and other information. I think you have some stuff, resources that you've already given out,
we give
right?
it out, yeah.
I'll leave this up here. for you guys.
So I want to thank Amy and Lieutenant White and the people that came with her. I thought it was a great presentation, very excellent. And we do thank you very much for coming out.
You have a question on?
It's actually just a question about our street right
Oh,
here
okay,
for
so
Officer White. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna end the meeting and I will get the slides from you.
Some of the slides. Yep.
Yeah, whatever we can, so that we can post it, because they can't see it very well.
Right.
It's just, it can't hear it and it's blurry.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna end it online. If there's no more questions, last chance. All right, thank you, guys.
Oh, yes. How many people do you have online?
Oh, there was 9.
Nine, so we're gonna
Nine.
save 9 signs for those folks online.
Okay, great.
Except, is the councilman getting one too?
Oh, no, he's not getting one.
So 8 for people online?